بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we are able to continue our study of Hadi Ashar. And as you remember, we finished Al-Imamatul Khassa Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And now we have to study other Imams. So first, the main text by Allama Hilli, page 107. ثم من بعده ولده الحسن عليه السلام. After Imam Ali is Imam Hassan. ثم الحسين عليه السلام. ثم علي بن الحسين عليه السلام. ثم محمد بن علي الباقر. ثم جعفر بن محمد الصادق. ثم موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. ثم علي بن موسى الرضا. ثم محمد بن علي الجواد. ثم علي بن محمد الهادي. ثم الحسن بن علي العسكري. ثم محمد بن الحسن صاحب الزمان صلوات الله عليهم بالنص كل سابق منهم على لاحقه. First reason is the designation of each Imam by previous Imams. بالنص كل سابق منهم على لاحقه. Whoever preceded explicitly, clearly mentioned who would be the Imam after him. وَبِالْأَدِلَّةِ السَّابِقَةِ. And also because of the previous arguments. Like for example, Imam has to be ma'soom and for no one other than them Isma is claimed and things like this. So this is the text of Allama Hilli, and by this the discussion of Imama finishes for Allama Hilli. Now we go to the commentary. Aghul Fadil Miqdad rahmatullah alayhi says لما فرغ من إثبات إمامة علي عليه السلام شرع في إثبات إمامة الأئمة القائمين بالأمر بعده. After finishing proving Imam of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali alayhi salam, he started with proving Imam of Imams who take care of the affairs, who are in charge of the affairs, means leadership after Amir al-Mu'mineen. وَالدَّلِيلُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ مِنْ وُجُوهٍ. And the reason, the argument for Imama of other Imams are several. First, al-awwal, النص من النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. Clear saying of the Prophet, designation by the Prophet. For example, فَمِنْ ذَلِكَ قَوْلُهُ لِلْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. Rasulullah said to Imam Hussein, هَذَا وَلَدِيَ الْحُسَيْنِ. This is my son, Hussein. Imam, Ibn Imam, Akhu Imam, Abu A'imma. He is Imam, son of Imam, brother of Imam, and father of Imams. تاسعهم قائمهم أفضلهم. The ninth Imam in the progeny of Imam Hussein is the 12th Imam, which is the best and most privileged of them. And them perhaps means Imams after Imam Hussein. Because it seems that the five Ahlul Bayt are on the top. Then after them Imam Zaman. من ذلك ما رواه جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري. Also the famous Hadith al-Luh. It is known as Hadith al-Luh. The tablet. Hadith al-Luh. Luh. Luh Mahfuz, like Luh Mahfuz. Luh. لما قال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. Jabir says, I told the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, عرفنا الله فأطعناه. We knew Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and obeyed him. وعرفناك فأطعناك. We also came to know you and we obeyed you. فَمَنْ أُولُو الْأَمْرِ الَّذِينَ أَمَرَنَا اللَّهُ تَعَالَى بِطَاعَتِهِمْ. Who are ulul amr that Allah has asked us to obey them? قَالَ هُمْ خُلَفَائِي يَا جَابِرُ. They are my successors. وَأَوْلِيَاءُ الْأَمْرِ بَعْدِي. And they would be in charge of the affairs after me. أَوَّلُهُمْ أَخِي عَلِيُّ بْنُ أولهم علي ثم من بعده الحسن ولده ثم الحسين ثم علي بن الحسين ثم محمد بن علي. The first is my brother Ali, then after him his son Hassan, then Hussein, then Ali the son of Hussein, then Muhammad the son of Ali. وَسَتُدْرِكُهُ يَا جَابِرُ. And you would be able to witness him, to live with him, to see him. فَإِذَا أَدْرَكْتَهُ فَقْرَأْهُ مِنِّ السَّلَامِ. When you meet him, say my salam to him. ثُمَّ جَعْفَرُ بْنُ مُحَمَّدٍ. This shows that you would not be there to see the next Imam. That's the end of your life. ثُمَّ جَعْفَرُ بْنُ مُحَمَّدٍ ثُمَّ مُوسَى بْنُ جَعْفَرٍ ثم علي بن موسى الرضا ثم محمد بن علي ثم علي بن محمد ثم الحسن بن علي ثم محمد بن الحسن يملأ الأرض قسطا وعدلا كما ملئت جورا وظلما. So even Rasulullah has mentioned the name of the 12 Imams. And there is also another hadith. إن الله اختار من الأيام يوم الجمعة. Allah has chosen from days of the week the day of Friday. So which day is the best day? Friday. Jum'ah. ومن الشهور شهر رمضان. From month, Allah has chosen months of Ramadan. ومن الليالي ليلة القدر. واختار من الناس الأنبياء. And selected from people the prophets. واختار من الأنبياء الرسل. And from the prophets has selected 313 Rasul, messenger. واختارني, and has chosen me. واختار مني عليا, and from those who are related to me has chosen Ali. I translate it in this way. واختار مني عليا means those who are related to me, from them has selected Ali. واختار من علي الحسن والحسين, and from Ali has selected Hassan and Hussein. واختار من الحسين الأوصياء, the successors. وهم تسعة من ولده, and they are 9 of his children, his progeny. يمنعون عن هذا الدين تحريف الضالين وانتحال المبطلين وتأويل الجاهلين. These Imams who come after me, or these 9 Imams who come after Imam Hussein, it can be those 9 Imams or it can be all of them, they stop tahrif al-dhalin, means distortion of Islam by those who are misguided, is stopped by them. They don't let Islam be affected by their distortion. Or those who are after falsehood, mubtalin, those who go after falsehood, they will not be able to create their own ideas and bring it to Islam. وَتَعْوِيلَ الْجَاهِلِينَ, those who are ignorant, they make their interpretations and ideas which would be damaging Islam. Imams would protect Islam against this type of interpretation of Jahili. So, the first reason for imama of 11 Imams is an-nas. Athani, the second thing is that in addition to the nas from Prophet, every Imam has mentioned clearly who would be the next Imam. It's not only Rasulullah who mentioned. النص المتواتر من كل واحد منهم على لاحقه. Every single Imam frequently mentioned who would be the next Imam, and this frequent mention is passed on generation by generation. وَذَلِكَ كَثِيرٌ لَا يُحْصَى. There are so many of these texts that you cannot even make a list of them. نَقَلَتْهُ الْإِمَامِيَّةِ. Imamiyya means Shia have narrated this, not only one generation. على اختلاف طبقات means in all generations. First generation, second generation, all generations of Shia have mentioned these hadiths about Imams. The third argument, أن الإمام يجب أن يكون معصوما. Imam must be ma'soom, must be infallible, and no one other than these is ma'soom. لا شيء من غيرهم بمعصوم. Nothing or no one other than them is ma'soom. So therefore no one can be other than them Imam. We have to explain two things. Why Imam has to be ma'soom? Why no one else was ma'soom? So it says أما الأول, why Imam has to be ma'soom? فقد مر بيانه. We mentioned this before, why Imam has to be ma'soom. أما الثاني, why no one other than them is ma'soom? Because of ijma'. Because if you ask all Muslims who is ma'soom, for example, after Amirul Mu'mineen, either they say Imam Hassan is ma'soom, or they say there is no ma'soom.
No ma'soom.
It means that all Muslims agreed that no one other than Imam Hassan was ma'soom. Sunni and Shia agreed that no one other than Imam Hassan was ma'soom. So there is ijma here.
How does he prove it, Sheikh? Sorry.
Pardon?
How does he prove this? That they agree that Imam Hassan was ma'soom?
He didn't say that.
No. We say no one else was ma'soom. Imam must be ma'soom. And no one else was ma'soom. So no one else was Imam. And we should have Imam. So the only one who remains is Imam Hassan. So, أما الأول, why Imam has to be ma'soom? فقد مر بيانه. Its explanation came before. أما الثاني, why no one else is ma'soom? فبالإجماع. By consensus, we know that لم يدع الاسم في أحد إلا فيهم في زمان كل واحد. In everyone's age, you ask Muslims, they all say for no one else ijma was claimed. فَيَكُونُوا هُمُ الْأَئِمَّةِ. So they would be Imams. Because we need imam, and we need to have ma'soom imam, and there's only one candidate.
Sheikh, were you saying there was no other claim, or we are agreeing that there was no other candidate?
The same is the same. Because no one claimed that I am ma'soom, and for no one also other people claim that he is ma'soom. Only Shia have candidates. Yes.
Sheikh, what about, for example, two imams at the same time, like Imam Hassan and Hussein where both of them are claimed to be ma'soom?
But they didn't claim imamah.
Yes. But here we're
At
talking
each
about
time, only one of them claimed to be imam.
Yes, but Asma was claimed. So we have more than one ma'soom at the time.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
Because it's not that there is a controversy among Muslims about is Imam Hassan only Imam or Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein are both of the Imam. The controversy is between Sunni and Shia.
Yes.
Otherwise, we don't have controversy about that side.
No,
So-
I mean, the wording I think maybe should be slightly modified. Because obviously, like if you come to Adam Imam Bakr alayhi salam at the time of his father, he will tell you my father's Imam. There's no
Yeah,
problem. But,
yeah. But at the moment, we don't want, we don't need to prove anything other than these people are imams, no one else.
yeah.
This is the point. The question is not that, for example, when Imam Ali was Imam, Imam Hassan was also Imam or not, Imam Hussein was also Imam or not, because they were ma'soom. So the idea is to prove to non-Shia that only these people can be Imam.
Sorry,
Ar-Rabi', yes.
if for example the Shia claimed that a person is ma'soom, but in reality he wasn't ma'soom, and then what I'm finding difficult to understand, how is it that the only candidate always would be that person that we're looking for?
No, if it is proved that he was not ma'soom, then of course this argument doesn't work. But it's not proved that they were not ma'soom, and also we know that there must be a ma'soom because imam is necessary, and we prove that imam has to be ma'soom. So if there is no ma'soom, then who is occupying this position? Qa'idiyya Lutf requires that there must be imam, and imam has to be ma'soom. So you must have someone who is ma'soom. So first of all, you have to show someone who is ma'soom, and secondly, there is no argument against isma of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam.
So if there's no argument against Esma, why don't the
I-
Sunnis accept that Imam Hassan, for example, was ma'soom?
No, they don't that much bother about isma. But we say, in the light of previous discussions, we prove that imam has to be ma'soom. If someone accepts that discussion, then we can continue like this. So if someone has passed the exam for the first part, then we can go to this part. Those have not passed the exam. They still doubt why imam has to be ma'soom. If they accept that imam has to be ma'soom, then it's easy. They don't even accept prophet is ma'soom completely. They say only in delivery of message. Yes.
Some of the Sunnis, in fact more than two groups of Sunnis, they do accept Masum of Imam.
Yes.
They do.
Even I think Ibn Arabi for Imam Mahdi accepts that he's ma'soom.
Who?
Ibn
Ibn Arabi
Arabi.
accepted him.
That Imam Mahdi is ma'soom.
I see.
Yes. 4. أنهم كانوا أفضل من كل واحد من أهل زمانهم. We had about Amir al-Mu'minin, about other Imams the same. In every age they lived, they were the best people of that age. وذلك معلوم في كتب السير والتواريخ. If you study the books on history and lives, you find this. فَيَكُونُوا أَئِمَّةً. So they have to be imam. Our non-Shia brothers, they don't deny this normally, but they say there is no need that imam has to be the best. We say it is qabih to prefer mafdhul ala al-fadil. When someone is better, if you prefer someone who is coming lower in rank, this is not acceptable. فَيَكُونُوا أَئِمَّةً. They were afdal, so they become أئمة لِقُبْحِ تَقْدِيمِ الْمَفْضُولَ عَلَى الْفَاضِلِ. Because it's bad. Qabih means morally it's bad, it's wrong to prefer the one who is lower to the one who is higher. You should not prefer the one who is lower to the one. Al-Khamis, fifth, all of these 12 imams have claimed to be imam, and they had also some extraordinary actions in compliance with their claim, a kind of mu'jaza, or you can say karama. So if they had not claimed, it was not necessary for Allah to stop them if they are not true. But they have claimed, and they had mu'jiza, and Allah didn't stop them. So it means that they were true imams. أَنَّ كُلَّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمُ ادَّعَى الْإِمَامَةِ. Every one of them claimed imamah. وَظَهَرَ الْمُعْجِزُ عَلَى يَدِهِ. Mu'jiz, it doesn't say mu'jiza, perhaps to avoid confusion. Mu'jiz means something that makes other people incompetent. They cannot do it.
Can you tell us what Mu'jiz Imam Hassan did? I know Imam Raza, we told about the lion came out of Imam Hassan.
There is a book, Madinatul Ma'ajiz, by Sheikh Hurra Amili Rahmatullah Alayhi, 5 volumes, all is about Mu'jizat of Ahlul Bayt. Madinatul Ma'ajiz. Sheikh Hurra Al-Amili, Sahib Wasail. Yes, he has 5-volume books. Madinatul Ma'ajiz, the city of miracles.
By Mawbi
Sheikh Hurra Al-Amili. فيكون إمام. وبيان ذلك قد تقدم. Why a person who claims imam to be imam and has mu'jaza, why he is true, we explained before, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not let someone to misguide people. Mu'jizatuhum, if you say what about mu'jizat, say قد نقلتها الإمامية في كتبهم. They are mentioned in the books. فعليك في ذلك بكتاب خرائج الجرائح للراوندي. For example, another book is خرائج for قطب الدين الراوندي وغيره من الكتب في هذا الفن, and there are other books. Then there is a final discussion in Imamah about the 12th Imam. Al-Imam al-Thani Ashar. Hayyun. Mawjudun min heen wiladatihi. The 12th Imam is alive. Physically alive. Otherwise all Imams are alive. Yeah? Martyrs are alive. Those who die are alive. But Imam Mahdi is physically alive. He is still in dunya. And he is also with physical body. Okay, he is not just a spirit or a soul. He is with body. He eats, he drinks, he sleeps, he walks. من حين ولادته, from the time he was born till now he is alive. When was he born? سنة ست وخمسين ومئتين, 256, 55, 56, إلى آخر زمان التكليف, till end of this dunya when there is taklif. لأن كل زمان لا بد من إمام معصوم, because in every time there has to be imam. So the 12th imam then has to be for the rest of the world. لعموم الأدلة, because those arguments that prove necessity of imam is not for a certain age. In all ages we need imam. وغيره ليس بمعصوم. We don't have any معصوم other than Imam al-Zaman today. So he has to be imam. فيكون هو الإمام. Then if someone says, how can someone be living for such a long time? You say, this is just istib'ad. Istib'ad means to say it's not likely, to consider something as not probable. Istib'ad, but there is no proof. Yes, for you, you have not experienced people with such a long life. But do you have proof? Is there anything scientifically showing that human beings must die after 100 years or 200 years? No. Actually, all doctors try to find how they can prolong the life of people. And in the past, we have historical records that there were people who lived 1,000 years, more than 1,000 years. Nowadays, our life has become short. But in the past was longer. Nuh alayhi salam was 950 years preaching. So, أما الاستبعاد ببقاء مثله فباطل. Istib'ad means to consider as unlikely, improbable. Ba'id shemordan. We say in Farsi, ba'id shemordan. Is to count something, consider something as
Impossible?
not impossible, improbable. To say how someone like him can endure such long life, this is batil. There is no argument here, there is no proof here. You are just saying it is not ordinary. Okay, it's not ordinary, but it's not impossible. لأن ذلك ممكن. This is logically possible. خصوصا, especially, we know that it has happened. وقد وقع. It has happened. خصوصا في الأزمنة السابقة. In the past, in previous times, it has happened. في حق السعداء والأشقياء. Not only good people, even there were bad people who lived a long life. ما هو أزيد من عمره. Actually, they lived more than his life.
Can I
What's
ask
the
a
meaning of
question? please?
ashqiya?
Ashqiya is opposite to su'ada, means bad people. Shaqi.
Shaqi is bad person?
Shaqi, yes. Shaqi opposite to Sa'id. Sa'id means fortunate, the one who has achieved happiness, sa'ada, felicity. Opposite is Shaqi.
Shaqi.
Yes.
The Jews believe Elias, the son of God, he is living until today. Ali, I mean, I think there's Imam Ali really, because he said Elias, the son of God. That's when the Bible they mentioned him. So he's living until today, they say. Aliyah. It's Aliyah, I think.
I'm not sure they believe this.
The Jews. And Jesus Christ think that he's coming back.
Coming, yeah. But maybe they don't mean that
He's alive. Yeah.
he's born.
Yeah.
But they may have also cases of people who lived long life. Why, now the question, why Imam Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif is in the state of ghaiba, occultation. Imam is needed, but why he is in the state of occultation? Amma sababu khafaihi, why he is hidden from us? فإما لمصلحة استأثر الله بعلمها. It is either because of a maslaha. Maslaha means interest. That Allah has kept knowledge of that maslaha for himself. استأثر الله بعلمها means Allah has kept it for himself. We don't know. Maybe there is something that we don't know. Or maybe there is something that we can guess. So after that we mention some of the things that we can make sense of it. For example, لكثرة العدو وقلة الناصر. Maybe because enemies are many and Imam has little helper. You may say this has always been the case. Other Imams also didn't have, but other Imams were not the last Imam. So even if they were killed, they were replaced, followed by another Imam. But he's the last one. So has to remain till he would have enough supporters. لأن حكمته تعالى وإسمته عليه السلام لا يجوز معهما منع اللطف. Because wisdom of Allah on the one side and the infallibility of Imam, these two together would not let a stopping of divine lutf, divine grace. Imam is lutf. And activities of Imam is another lutf. Why we are denied, why we are deprived from that lutf? There must be a maslaha. There must be a reason for that. Either the reason is not known to us, or the reason is something that we can also guess, like lack of helper, great number of enemies. فَيَكُونُ مِنَ الْغَيْرِ الْمُعَادِ. So if there is no access to Imam, it's not because Allah doesn't have favor or Imam doesn't want to come. The problem is al-ghayr, is the enemy. Al-ghayr al-mu'adi, the one who is enemy. So because of enemies, Imam is not with us. There's an obstacle. وَذَلِكَ هُوَ الْمَطْلُوبُ. And this is what we wanted to prove. Yes.
Isn't that the whole system of cause and effect here as well? So you could say that, the system of the world needs the cause and effect. It's not just direct presence of God known or to interject in that. So maybe that's one of the reasons.
So what do you mean by...
Again, it comes down to maslaha. So although there is maslaha in terms of the right time or the right opportunity, that conditions are right for it to appear, but in order for that to happen, there is a system of cause and effect.
Sure. So the situation has to become ready so that he would be introduced to us. Right now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no hesitation. Imam has no hesitation. But the situation is not right. Okay? Allahumma ajjil farajah wa arina falajah wa ja'alna min a'wanihi wa atba'ihi wa rzuqna ta'atahu wa ridah wa asimna mukhalafatahu wa sakhatah bihaqqil haqq wal qa'il bis-sidq. Oh Allah, please hasten His faraj, delivery, and show us His coming, and include us among His helpers and followers, and give us the blessing of obeying Him and pleasing Him, and protect us from disobeying Him and making Him angry with us. بحق الحق, because of the right of the truth and those who tell the truth. Al-Haq is Allah and Qalib al-Sir is Rasulullah. Because of yourself and because of Rasulullah, give us these hajat. Alhamdulillah, the discussion about Imama also finished. Now we move on to the last, not last, but last usul, which is Ma'ad. Yes.
Sheikh, now we've heard from many of our ulama,
Yes.
and perhaps some of the narrations, that it is because of us that the occultation is so low. So
Yeah.
does that mean that it is actually because of the enemies, but the enemies are there because of us, because of our lacks and our situation, that we're not doing enough to relieve the situation? So it comes back to us as well.
Yeah. But the main thing is that there are enemies. This is the main problem. And we don't do the necessary, then Imam doesn't come. For example, in Sharh Tajreed, it says, وجوده لطف وتصرفه لطف آخر وعدمه منا. عدمه minna. Minna means not from us. It's from us. Not from Allah, from us. But us means human beings. We Shia are not doing enough, and the enemies of Imam also are very active. They do lots of mischief. So the result is that he cannot come. Yes.
On page number 107, it says, تَعْصِمُهُمْ قَائِمُهُمْ أَفْضَلُهُم. There is a hadith in Bihar and Bar where it says that we 11 Imams, from Imam Hassan up to Imam Hadi, we all are equal in all senses. Then why we are saying here that Imam Mahdi is Afzal among those 11 Imams?
Not among those 11, among those 9.
9. So how would we make this hadith compatible with that we 11 Imams are equal?
Equal in what?
Equal in all senses, like knowledge and bravery and all the, like being insan kamil.
No, they are not necessarily equal. It means they are all qualified with great virtues, with isma, with ilmul ghayb, this type of things. But among them can be differences. I think once I told you, actually this discussion is not very maybe useful or necessary discussion, but it seems that we can say the first rank are Panchtan, then Imam Zaman. So Imam Zaman compared to 9 Imams that come after Imam Hussein is Afzal. But I think we shouldn't discuss these things, because it's much, much above our level.
No, and the other thing is, as we proved that the Holy Prophet gave the name of 12 Imams.
Yes.
But we see in the seerah of Imam Sadiq al-Islam, when his older son Ismail died, and then he talked about Bada, that Allah has Bada.
Bada means that for people it was appearing that Ismail would be the successor,
Okay.
but not in the knowledge of Allah. In the knowledge of Allah was decided who would be the successor. But Bada is like Naskh. Even in Naskh, it's known that this is going to be abrogated. But people think it is forever, then it will be abrogated. Bada in Takween is like Naskh in Tashri. If you learn this, so it's good for 1 month. Bada in Takween is like Naskh in Tashri. None of them shows change in Allah's knowledge or plan. The only thing is that something was presented that looked to people that it would be permanent, but then it was not permanent. Yeah? Okay. This is Ma'ad, but why I said it is not the last? Because some of the things which are not normally, about Ma'ad, like Amr al-Ma'ruf, this type of thing is also discussed here. الفصل السابع في المعاد. The 7th chapter is about resurrection. اتفق المسلمون كافة على وجوب المعاد البدني. All Muslims have agreed on the necessity of corporeal resurrection, physical corporeal resurrection. So ma'ad is not just your spirit coming for judgment. It's jismani or badani, means soul and body, not just body. No one says just body. Some people say just ruh, some people say both ruh and badan. Okay, no one says just badan, because badan without ruh doesn't have any understanding. So all Muslims say that ma'ad is necessary, resurrection is necessary, but what type of ma'ad? Badani, means corporeal. وَلِأَنَّهُ, not only they agree, they have also reason for it. لَأَنَّهُ لَوْلَا, if it was not that there is resurrection, لَقَبُحَ التَّكْلِيفِ, obligation would become immoral, would become wrong. We will explain. Because you say people do this, and they do it till they die. What is going to happen to them? They must be rewarded. Or some people don't do it. There must be a punishment for it. لَقَبُحَ التَّكْلِيفِ, taklif would have become immoral. وَلَأَنَّهُ مُمْكِنٌ, the second argument, is resurrection possible or impossible? It's possible. You cannot say it's impossible, because if it was impossible to create them, the first creation also was not possible. Yes? In the same way that Allah created us first, He can also bring us back. So, it's possible. وَالصَّادِقُ قَدْ أَخْبَرَ بِثُبُوتِ, and a truthful person, honest person has told us that this is going to happen. When Rasulullah says that Ma'ad is going to happen, 124,000 prophets said Ma'ad is going to happen. And you don't have any problem. If it was something impossible, you would say, okay, we have to interpret it in another way. Or they made mistake. But this is possible, and all the truthful prophets have told about it. وَالصَّادِقُ قَدْ أَخْبَرَ بِالثُّبُوتِ, He has informed us about happening of it. فَيَكُونُ حَقًّا, so it is right. Also, وَالْآيَاتُ الدَّالَّةُ عَلَيْهِ, we have ayat, verses of the Quran that indicate ma'ad. وَالْإِنْكَارُ عَلَى جَاحِدِهِ, denial of ma'ad is on the shoulder of those who deny it. Means the burden of argument is on them. If they say it's impossible, they have to prove. They cannot say, we don't like it. You have to prove why it is impossible. وَكُلُّ مَنْ لَهُ عِبَزٌ أَوْ عَلَيْهِ يَجِبُ بَعْثُهُ أَقْلًا. Who should be resurrected? Question. Who should be resurrected? Those that through aql and naql, we understand that they must be resurrected, are those that either we have to compensate for them, or we have to take compensation from them. كُلُّ مَنْ لَهُ عِوَزٌ أَوْ عَلَيْهِ. So someone who has to receive compensation, replacement for suffering, or doing good things, a'mal, all these things he has done, he has to receive evaz, means replacement, compensation. Or alayhi, those that they must give compensation. These are the people that yajibu ba'thuhu aqlan. Even Aql says that these people must be resurrected. وَغَيْرُهُ, but those that they don't need to compensate or receive compensation. Like children, for example, animals. Then by aql is difficult to prove, or maybe it's not possible, or it's difficult to prove that they must be resurrected. But we can understand from sama, from text. For example, إِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. Even animals are resurrected. But it's difficult to prove by aql that animals should be resurrected. Okay? So, for human beings that need to be rewarded or to be brought to justice, aqlan and naqlan, they must be resurrected. But there are also some human beings or non-human beings that they are not morally responsible or they have not done anything to be praised for. But we can understand from Quran or Hadith that they also would be resurrected. كل من له عبز أو عليه يجب بعثه عقلا وغيره means other than these people who are له عليه عبز يجب إعادته سمعان. Sam'an means according to a scripture, Quran and Hadith says. Now let's go to the commentary. If you are not tired, I read about 10 minutes and then inshallah we can stop. If you are tired, I can read 15 minutes.
Then we are tired, Sheikh. Bismillah.
Because if you are tired, then I have to explain more. It becomes 15 minutes.
No,
It
in
makes
that
sense.
sense, I mean more.
Yes.
One of the alim, I was hearing his dars, and he was quoting from Ayatollah Jawadi Amli about the same verse, وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. He said, according to Jawadi Amli, Ayatollah Jawadi Amli, the resurrection is only for human beings, and when he says إِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ, those were the human beings, they were not human beings, they turned into animal because of their deeds. So there is no resurrection for animals. Could you please put some light on this one?
So this is one view.
This one, okay.
The other view is that although it is not rationally, because philosophically it's difficult or impossible to prove, but the mana zahiri, the apparent meaning of the text is that they will also
Resurrected.
resurrect. Okay. أقول فاضل مقدار is saying al-ma'ad. First of all, what is the literal meaning of ma'ad? Ma'ad is ismul makan or ismul zaman or masdar mimi. Yeah, it can be ismul makan or ismul zaman or masdar mimi. Al-ma'ad zamanul aud or makan, like mashhad. Mashhad means the place of martyrdom or the time of martyrdom. Also, mashhad can mean martyrdom itself. So, ma'ad can mean makan, the place or the time, or the actual act of return. Zamanul oud. Wa makanuhu, the place of oud. Oud means return. Ada ya'udu means roju, return. Or the oud itself. I don't know why he didn't mention oud itself, return. Muradu bihi huna huwa al-wujudu thani. What do we mean by ma'ad? The technical meaning is this. The literal meaning means the place of return, the time of return, or the return itself. What is the technical meaning? Al-muradu bihi huna huwa al-wujudu thani lil-ajsam. وإعادتها بعد موتها وتفرقها. The second existence of things. What does it mean? It means that they existed in dunya, then they died. They didn't stop existence. You remember we said in philosophy is not i'adatul ma'dum. But they existed in dunya, Then they died, and then they came back, but always existed. You remember? إعادتها بعد موتها, not بعد عدمها. وتفرقها. تفرق means
Scattered.
Means the dispersed, we can say.
Scattered is the same word. Scattered, I would disperse.
Dispersed, I think is better. Means like, you know, human body is dispersed. Yeah? It's dissolved, it's dispersed. وَهُوَ حَقٌّ وَاقِعٌ. This is true and happens خِلَافًا لِلْحُكَمَاء. Unlike some philosophers. Not, of course, Muslim philosophers or some Christian philosophers. Some philosophers who have no faith in Abrahamic religions, they may not believe resurrection. Either they don't accept resurrection, or maybe they have reincarnation or something like that. وَالدَّلِيلُ عَلَى ذَلِكَ. What is the argument for it? Proof. الأول إجماع المسلمين على ذلك من غير نكير بينهم فيه. Consensus of Muslims about resurrection without anyone who, nakir means munkar, anyone who denies. You may say, okay, what is the benefit of ijma' of Muslimin? It says ijma'uhum hujjah, because you have already accepted Islam. You have already proved the existence of God, proved the nubuwwah of Prophet Muhammad, you proved the truth of Quran. So now you can follow that. الثاني, the second argument. أنه لو لم يكن المعاد حقا. If ma'ad, resurrection, were not correct, possible. Not possible, mean correct. لَقَبُحَ التَّكْلِيف. It was immoral to obligate. وَالتَّالِي بَاطِل. But obligation is not qabih. فَالْمُقَدَّمُ مِثْلُ. So ma'ad is haq. Why? Why if resurrection was not correct, taklif was bad? Bayan al-shartiyya is this. Anna taklif mashaqqatun. Taklif is a kind of burden, is a kind of trouble. Yeah? Not always, but normally, you wake up in early morning to pray, you have to fast. There are some difficulties. Mustalzimatun للتعويض عنها, which requires to be compensated. فإن المشقة من غير عوض ظلم. If you make people suffer, you put them into difficulty, but they don't receive anything in return, this is injustice. Okay? وذلك العوض, and that in return, that compensation, ليس بحاصل في زمان التكليف, does not happen in this dunya. When there is taklif, maybe you receive some compensation in dunya, but not every compensation is that. Because up to the last moment you are doing your takalif, your wajibat.
Yes.
So you have to be compensated in another world. فَلَا بُدَّ حِينَئِذٍ مِنْ دَارٍ أُخْرَى. There must be another house, another world. يَحْصُلُ فِيهَا الْجَزَاءُ عَلَى الْأَعْمَالِ, in which jaza means reward and compensation for actions would happen. وَإِلَّا لَكَانَ التَّكْلِيفُ ظُلْمًا. Otherwise taklif would have become zulm, injustice, and injustice is qabih, is immoral. May God be glorified. Third, أَنَّ حَشْرَ الْأَجْسَامِ مُمْكِنٌ. Resurrection is possible, yes.
Sorry, about this awad and the recompensation which Allah gives. We read, for example, Amir al-Mu'mineen, or it said that the greatest reward for a believer and the motivation behind people worshipping him should be Allah Himself.
Sure.
And His satisfaction, not for hell or heaven, or the material things that you get in that world. But the human being can also reach that status of liqa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even in this world. and such that, you know, you say, okay, whether he's in that world, in this world, he's still connected, his soul is connected and is transcended and is with Allah. So in that case, what is the need for him to go to be resurrected on the Day of Judgment?
Yeah, these are some people, for them then they have achieved in dunya whatever they are going to achieve, and they have transcended this. But it's not that every mu'min reaches that point. And also we have criminals who didn't do their taklif and they did opposite. They should also be brought into justice.
Sheikh, another question please, while we're discussing the point. Some people will say that if you do a wajib, like prayer, then do not expect any reward for a wajib act. Expect any reward for mustahabbat, for example. So here we come to
You
this
should
issue.
not expect, but most of people expect.
No, but in logic, as a logical point, would we demand reward for a wajib? Because it is taklif, therefore there should be.
Yes, because Allah has promised. He has promised us that He would reward us for wajibat as well as mustahabat. And for not doing haram, He would reward us. But of course we shouldn't demand that, but we demand most of the time.
Actually,
Even sometimes we ask Allah to give us rewards for what we have not done. Yeah. Many of our, a'mal are in reality void, empty. Yes.
Sheikh, actually, I mean, somehow I am not agreeing with this قبح التكليف term, because the taklif itself is actually beneficial for us.
Sure.
Even if you are doing it with mashaqqa, but it is beneficial because it's protecting us from not doing the taklif.
But if someone doesn't do taklif at all, shouldn't be treated differently compared to one who has done taklif?
Yeah, of course, because the taklif has.
Yeah. الثالث أن حشر الأجسام ممكن. Resurrection of physical objects or realities is possible. والصادق أخبر بوقوعه. Truthful person has informed that this happens, like Prophet or 124,000 prophets or Imams. So when something is possible and truthful people say it happens, so it happens. فَيَكُونُ حَقًّا. Why it is possible? You may say, why is possible? We said if it was not possible, even in the first place, it was not possible to create it. أما إمكانه. Why resurrection is possible? فَلَأَنَّ أَجْزَاءَ الْمَيِّتِ قَابِلَةٌ لِلْجَمْعِ. Because these parts which are scattered can be brought together, can be collected. It's possible. وَإِفَاضَةُ الْحَيَاةِ عَلَيْهَا. It's possible also to give them life. If it was not possible to put them together and give life, then in the first place they were not possible to be created. وَإِلَّا لَمَا اتَّصَفَ بِهَا means بِالْحَيَاةِ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Before. It was not enjoying and being described by hayat before. وَاللَّهُ تَعَالَى عَالِمٌ بِأَجْزَاءِ كُلِّ شَخْصٍ. And Allah knows all the pieces and parts of every person. Don't say this body is dispersed and has become part of an animal or grass. Or Allah knows all these parts. لما تقدم من أنه عالم بكل المعلومات, because He knows everything. Even today with technology, you can track every little thing. Yeah. Now we can easily track things. Now imagine for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is nothing to keep a track of every part of every person. Yes.
So this concept of Aqil and Maqul, which been discussed, I think, in one of Ayatollah Jafar Subhani's Tafsir al-Mawdu'i. For example, if a mu'min being eaten by a non-Muslim and eaten. So what's the concept of that?
So the first thing is that Allah can bring it back. But the main answer is that actually body is not important. The main thing is the soul, which gives the identity. You can give anybody to this person. The reward and punishment is not for those parts of the body. The reward and punishment is for the soul. And body is like a dress. You can change your clothes.
But here we start the argument from ma'ad jismani. So for example, if I commit some sin with some particles of my body, because according to the science in 6 to 8 years time, the whole body changes.
Yeah.
If I've committed sin with my previous cells.
We forget your body and focus on your soul.
Okay.
Even if you keep change your body, we focus on your soul.
So we feel more pain in the body.
Like in dunya, if a criminal changes his body or face or head or surgery, as long as they can establish this is the same person, they don't release him.
Sheikh, at the beginning of this chapter, it says all Muslims agree on
Ma'ad Jasmani.
Ma'ad Badani, Jasmani,
Yes, yes.
But I thought there are others within Islam who believe in Ma'ad Ruhani, or is that not?
So he wants to say they are not Muslims. Okay. So لما تقدم من أنه عالم بكل المعلومات, because he knows all the things that can be known. وقادر على جمع, he can bring them together. Why? Because this is possible and he is capable of doing everything which is possible. والله تعالى قادر على كل الممكنات. We said if something is impossible, then power doesn't belong to it because it's impossible. But he is capable of doing everything which is possible. فثبت أن إحياء الأجسام ممكن. So to revive physical objects is possible. So this is about possibility. You said أخبر الصادق بوقوعه. أما أن الصادق, the one who is truthful, like Rasulullah or Anbiya, أخبر بوقوع ذلك. There is no doubt about it. Everyone knows that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Jesus, Moses, they all talked about resurrection. فلأنه ثبت بالتواتر أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يثبت المعاد البدني. Rasulullah used to prove, used to believe, maintain that there is corporeal resurrection. ويقول به فيكون حقا. So this is ممكن and أخبر الصادق بالوقوع. So it's haq, and this is what we wanted to prove. الرابع دلالة القرآن على ثبوته. Quran also indicates this. والإنكار على جاحده. And the one who denies this has the burden of argument on his shoulder. They have to prove why it is impossible. فيكون حقا. أما الآيات, I am finishing. أما الآيات. أما الأول, why Quran is saying this? There are many verses. For example, in Surah Yasin, وَضَرَبَ لَنَا مَثَلًا وَنَسِيَ خَلْقَهُ قَالَ مَنْ يُحْيِي الْعِظَامَ وَهِيَ رَمِيمٌ قُلْ يُحْيِيهَا الَّذِي أَنْشَأَهَا أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ خَلْقٍ عَلِيمٌ. You know the ayah?
Yes.
The one who took bone
Yes.
and said, who is going to revive? So Quran is clearly talking about Ma'ad al-Jasmani, with bone, with body. And if someone denies, has to prove that why it's impossible. Okay, I stop here, and inshallah we continue next week. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.